Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I think everyone aware today our agenda is just to discuss about the GraphiQL. So here, so we want to discuss about the GraphiQL. The main agenda is, so we are going to be discussing what is the purpose of the GraphiQL, and already if you are having some technologies like REST and some distributed systems, what is the added advantage by using the GraphiQL? So we are going to be understand that one, and we've seen what is the major uh, problem this GraphiQL is going to be solving. That's what we're going to be saying. So generally, if we are adopting some new technology, means there is some limitation in existing technology. That's the reason generally we are going to be adopting new technology or a new framework. So similarly, what is the problem GraphiQL is going to be solving? So what is the issue GraphiQL is going to be solving? So that's what we're going to be saying. So basically, just to understand this GraphQL, before we are having something like a REST, we are going to be having, probably you might hear something like a gRPCs also are going to be here. So gRPC is all along a different story. So I will going to be give some kind of a context about the gRPC. So when gRPC is the most preferable and when you are going to be using, so that's we'll see some kind of a small use case also, if possible, I will going to be sure. But today, main focused about the GraphiQL. So to step into the GraphiQL, so let us understand how a REST API is going to be working. So what is the main problem we are going to be facing in the REST API? So here GraphiQL is not a technology, dear. First of all, GraphiQL is not a technology. It is a framework. Generally, a framework is nothing but a solution. It is generally people will going to be calling it as a query language. So that doesn't mean you no need to learn any kind of other programming language. Just it is you can consider it as just a simple framework. So this framework you can able to integrate with some Node.js, some Python, some plain Java also you can able to do, some .NET also you can able to do. So this is a distributed framework. So there is a no technology barrier. With any technology you can able to do that one. Why we are taking the Spring Boot is, Spring Boot giving a lot of auto configuration mechanisms. With that auto configuration mechanisms, you can able to easily construct your GraphQL. So earlier, if you want to construct the GraphiQL, you need to create some kind of a data fetchers. You need to create a huge amount of a code you need to write. But the beauty of the Spring Boot is it is actually giving us some auto configuration with respect to of the GraphiQL also. So we'll see how Spring Boot is managing this GraphiQL, how easily we can develop a GraphiQL API. That's we will see. So, but before that, so we will just do some analysis on the REST API. So then we are going to be see the advantages of the REST this GraphiQL. Simple example here. Let us say I have a REST API, so which is having some kind of a slash users. So let us say I'm having something like a slash users I'm having. So in this slash users, I'm returning something like a user ID, username, let us say a password or some kind of a contact I'm going to be using. Maybe I'm going to be returning something like a orders also. So list of orders I'm going to be returning. And again, in this list of orders, each and every order having some kind of a order object. So order status and something like a order type, what kind of order you are going to be placing. So that's how a user can able to place a multiple orders, list of orders we are going to be returning. So assume, so we are having some kind of a slash users REST API. So this REST API returning this list of attributes. So this list of attributes it is going to be returning. Due to some restrictions, let us say I just log in into my page in a profile. I didn't click any kind of my show orders. Just I need to retrieve my username and contact. If I go for the REST API approach, you are going to be hard coding your response. So definitely you are going to be hard coding your response. Whatever the object you created, that entire object is going to be delivered to the client, irrespective of the client usage. Maybe client will use all the attributes, or maybe client not going to be using all the attributes. So server is going to be return all the attributes to the client. So that's where what we will do is, if a client is not using all our attributes, that becomes overfetching of your data. Overfetching of your data. So as a let us say I'm having a two clients I'm having. One is the mobile client, second one is the web client. So two UI applications. One is running on the mobile, one is running on the web. So web application need all these details, but mobile we need some kind of a limited data. So for mobile data also, your server is going to be returning entire whole attributes it is going to be returning. So that's where if your mobile client is not even it is not required all these attributes also, your server is going to be return all the data to that. Sometimes that may leads to some kind of a data leakage also. Sometimes it is going to be follow. We are not sure, because huge amount of data is going to be traveling to the client. So if you are going to be managing your data in the client side, that will actually lead some kind of a performance issues on the client side also. So here the main problem is, if you go for the REST API, in a REST APIs, so or a response is the kind of a hard coded. So once you construct the response object, so irrespective of the client, it will going to be written all the data to the client. So how many clients it is going to be consuming? So there is a nothing we are going to be handle there. Whole data is going to be transferred to the all the clients. If a client's use, well and good. If all the attributes used by client, well and good. If a client is not using all these attributes, that will underfall onto the overfetching of a data. So now if a client is not using, so then we are going to be just going to be hide some attributes from the REST API. For example, in a Spring Boot API, if I don't want to share some attributes to the outside of my API, you will use some kind of a JSON ignore you are going to be used. If you use a JSON ignore, you are able to hide your data, and you are not going to be exposing the attributes. That's where you can able to solve. So let us say you focused on the two clients only. Tomorrow another new client got added, because distributed APIs. So maybe your API is consumed by some other AI program. So that AI program need a huge amount of data. That time, so you focused on the two clients only. Due to the two clients, you cut down some data from the server. So you cut down some data and you given the data to the client, you cut down the data. Now a new client was added. So because in a distributed system, so we are not sure how our enhancements will going to be happen. So at the time of application development, we just thought we are going to be develop only web application only. Then we move to the mobile application. Now we integrated some kind of a system to system communication. In that system to system communication, another new client was came into the picture. Now that the third client is expecting the more data. With respect of the third client, so that will going to be happen to the underfetching of your data. Underfetching of our data. So some clients, your response becoming a overfetching. Some clients, your data will going to be become a underfetching of a data. So this is the main problem you are facing in your REST API. In a REST API, your response is somehow hard coded. So whatever the response object you created, so that is going to be managed by the server. If a client need that data, well and good. If a client is not expecting the data, or if a client is expecting a more and more data, so that's where your application will going to be fall under either overfetching of a data or underfetching of data. So if you want to deal with this programmatically from a REST API, you need to write a huge kind of a logic, and you need to hard code some attributes from the client side. First, you need to validate which client is going to be consuming my data, and what attributes I need to deliver that one. So tomorrow, number of clients is growing there. We need to validations is also going to be grow and grow. You can able to give the solution that, but it is a very difficult to manage. So definitely there is a solution for that, but programmatically, if you deal from the REST API side itself, that will actually cause a lot of maintenance issues. So one client, two clients means we can able to handle, but in the future we are going to be having the multiple clients going to be growing there. That doesn't mean we can't able to monitor all the clients. A new client was added, so which attributes expecting by that client, which attributes we suppose not to do. Maybe you can tell Harsha, what is the issue or fetching of a data? We can give all the data, whatever the data client need, that they can use, otherwise they will not going to be used. Maybe one attribute, two attribute, that's okay. Some in a real time projects, sometimes we are going to be creating the objects with 30 fields, 40 fields. So let us say I'm working some kind of a security field. I'm having a lot of roles I'm having. So I'm having some kind of a tokens I'm having, 30 fields I'm having with the heavy data. With that heavy data, if I go to the client, if a client is a lightweight client, a client means some mobile application, some web application. If they don't need all this kind of a data, they need only two or three attributes. Remaining 28 attributes is unnecessarily are going to be fetching. That may leads to data breach also. Sometimes people will going to be snip your URL and they can able to steal your data also. So some kind of a security concerns also will going to be raised there. To solve this problem, the main in, intention about the GraphQL is to solve overfetching or underfetching of a data. So this GraphQL is actually introduced. In a REST API, we are having a problem called as a overfetching or a odd underfetching. So when our clients is growing there, so you are going to be having the overfetching. When our clients is lessing there, you are going to be expecting the less, you are going to be making the underfetching of a data. So to solve this overfetching and underfetching, so GraphQL is introduced. How GraphiQL is going to be dealing is, unlike REST API, it will not going to be handled. First of all, the response is not handover, or the response is not dealt by the server. So it is not derived by the server. So your GraphiQL is actually is a query language. So here what will happen is, when unlike server define the response, your GraphiQL allows client fetch the data what they need. So your GraphiQL will going to be allows client fetch the data what they need. So whatever the data they need, so they will going to be fetch the data. For example, client will going to be tell, hey, I need only user ID. Hey, I need only username. Only that data only will going to be fetched by the client. So that kind of a convenient mechanism offered by the GraphiQL. So that's where GraphiQL is called as a query language for your APIs. So you are having a still a REST API, but on top of the REST API, if you want to give some kind of a convenient way to consume the data to avoid the problem of the overfetching and underfetching of a data, you can use the GraphiQL. So with this GraphiQL, unlike your REST API where your server is going to be define your response, your GraphiQL allows client will going to be define the response according to their necessity. So whatever the fields they need, so that's they are going to be give the necessity. So while discussing a theoretical part, it's a little bit plug and play like kind of only. But once we step into the practical code wise, you can easily get on here. But just to try to get that concept. So at least theoretically, if you just get that concept, we'll connect the dots. Once we do some kind of a practical code wise, so that's we can do the, you can easily understand that one. But the main purpose of the GraphiQL is, if you take any REST API or if you go for the SOAP also, your server is going to be decide the response. Client don't have any involvement. Client will going to be send the request, server will going to be create the response object, it will going to be come here. So if a client need that data, it will use, it will not required, so it will going to be hide from the client side. Suppose if you need some kind of a modification, then you need client need to wait. Here client means in my terminology, either a web application or some mobile application or some application who is consuming your API. So API can be consumed by any application, right? That may be a mobile application, that may be a web application, that may be a system. So anything. So that I'm going to be considering as a client. So whenever client send the request, client don't have any kind of control over the response generated by the server. So it will give the server will going to be give a response that may be used whole by the client or may be neglected by the client. But GraphQL giving some control over the response from the client side. client will going to be decide, hey server, I need these kind of attributes, so then I'm going to be using this one. So that's where you are going to be using this client attribute, you are going to be using this GraphiQL. So let us do one thing, a small example we are going to be do. First we'll develop a REST API. So we'll understand the problem. So then we are going to be convert that REST API into a GraphiQL. So which you will prefer? Can I directly go for the GraphiQL, or first REST API, then we'll go for the REST API, GraphiQL? So which you will
REST
prefer?
REST
First REST
API.
API, Graph.
So a simple like this. So we'll take the same thing only here. I will take some user API. So there I'm having the username and the contact and orders I'm going to be take. So with this I'm going to be take a REST API. So then I'm going to be converting that as a GraphiQL. So I'm just taking, let me develop an application. Uh, okay. So just a simple Spring Starter project I'm going to be take. And meanwhile, let me open the MySQL also. So I will going to be create database GraphiQL workshop I will keep. Make sense? Agree everyone? Any objections?
No, sir.
Yes.
Okay. I think we given some type of GraphiQL workshop. Okay. Yeah. So I will going to be use this GraphiQL workshop database. That's it. So tables, all those things we are going to be create through the Spring Boot entity itself. Auto create we are going to be do. No worries on that. So just I created a database. So now let us create a new Spring Starter project. Also, I will going to be give Spring Boot GraphiQL. So package name com.training. So Spring Boot GraphiQL. And I'm taking Maven here. Oh, everything is okay. So I have a Java 17 version. Everything is looks good for me. Anything changes, group ID, I will change as a training. Okay. So for me, looks good. Any other thing you want to add, or? Okay. So let's go there, and definitely we need a web. So Spring Web dependency I need to develop a REST API and a Spring Web module consisting of embedded Tomcat, all those things we need. So that's I'm going to be adding. And I need a MySQL driver also. So I'm just adding the MySQL driver. And to perform the database operations, I'm taking the data JPA I will going to be take. So Spring data JPA. So this I'm going to be taking. And finally, GraphiQL I'm going to be taking. So Spring for GraphiQL there, this is what you need to do. So this developer tool, so if you add this, so some of the tools will going to be get here. So what is the purpose of this developer tools is you are going to be add some kind of a schemas. So at the time of writing the schemas itself, it will give us some kind of a suggestion whether the validation is properly doing or not. So that is optional. So I'm just taking the Spring for GraphiQL. This is sufficient for us. So I'm just taking this one. So with this we can able to build. That's it. And next. That's it. Finish. And I think, have you people worked with the Spring Data? So there we are having a named queries. Did you remember named queries, Spring Data named queries?
Yes, sir.
So let us say we don't need to write any kind of a query. We can simply declare the method. We don't require implementation also. We just declare the method. So then the query construction will going to be happen. So the same base Spring Boot offering some kind of a GraphQL, you just need to create a method with the same name of the schema. Automatically GraphQL will going to be map. That's what we will see. But I'm just giving the reference with that one. You can just correlate with that. So I think yes, we are done and we generated this application. And let us quickly check the pom.xml. So we have a Spring Data JPA, GraphQL, Web, MySQL connector, and all those things. Beautiful. And let me first add the here. If you see the structure here, so resource folder, there is a another new folder is created, that is a GraphQL folder. So in this GraphQL folder, we need to add the schemas. Simple here, no need to be overthink about that schemas. Schemas is nothing but a skeleton about your queries. That's it, simple, nothing is there. So I need to create some kind of a skeleton. I mean, here client will going to be decide what are the options I want to give to the client. So whether I want to give a username option or I want to give a some kind of a contact option, what option I want to give to the client, that is that skeleton we are going to be defined in a schema. That skeleton we are going to be calling as a schema. That's it. The skeleton of your response, you can tell simply the skeleton of your response you are going to be calling as a schema we are going to be calling. So those you need to keep in your GraphQL folder. So automatically your Spring Boot IOC container will going to be load and a resource finder we are having. So that will going to be read your file and it will going to be map that one. So that internally do that all those things. This is the reason most of the people will use a Spring Boot from the GraphQL, because if you go for the Node.js or a Python, this schema creation, the mapping of a schema to your objects, as a developer you need to do. So that is unnecessary uh, burden to the developer. So you need to create an object. That object you need to map to the schema. In a schema, you need to define the type definitions. In the type definitions, you need to define all the inputs, outputs, everything you need to define. That actually you need to map each and everything through the object mapper class you need to take. If you use the plain Java without a Spring Boot, you need to do huge amount of a code. And after that, you need to create some kind of interface called as a data fetcher you are having. So like this one. So this data fetcher you need to write manually. So everything you need to write. I think this way by giving. So this integration you need to do everything manually. But from Spring Boot 3 onwards, everything was actually auto-configured. So we don't need to keep that much effort. So Spring Boot will going to be taking care. In a, it's like a cakewalk. So that's how easily we can do. That's we can say. So first, let us build a REST API. So then we are going to be add all our Spring GraphiQL configurations. We are going to be add. So let me do one thing. So anyway, we open the application or properties. So to communicate with the database, we need to add these application properties details, right? So database details, whatever we need. So that's where going to be add. So definitely we need something like a data source URL we need. So that is nothing but JDBC MySQL localhost 3306 here. By default, my server is going to be running on the 3306, and we need to give a database name. So remember, what is the database name? What is the
GraphQL.
MySQL database.
GraphQL.
GraphiQL workshop?
Workshop.
Okay, thank you. Everyone is active. First of all, I need to appreciate you guys. Such a lazy Sunday. You guys making your day so productive. Hope everyone have your breakfast. Even if you didn't have also, just wait for 1.5 hours. I don't want to give a much burden. You can still enjoy your remaining amount of a Sunday. No worries on that. So then again,
Yeah,
so
password.
beautiful. Can we give a username first?
Yeah.
Spring data source dot username and password.
Password.
Don't tell my password to anyone. So this is my password. So don't tell anyone. Such a strong password. So spring dot shape a dot, and I need some kind of a dialect here. So that's where I'm going to be making some kind of a database
వచ్చిందా
platform. So then I can, which dialect you will prefer, dear? Not preferring, which dialect you need to take?
MySQL 57 dialect.
Definitely we need to take the MySQL dialect only, because the role
MySQL.
of the dialect is when you are using any kind of a ORM tool, you will not create the query. That ORM tool is responsible to create the query. So to define the syntax of your database, this dialect will going to be play a major role. So that's the reason we are taking this dialect. So I will take Hibernate. To be honest, just uh, dialect. So I think that is a MySQL dialect only. I didn't remember, to be honest. So let me MySQL dialect, because never by heart there. So you can go there. Official documentation. Okay, MySQL 5 dialect. Okay, that's fine. I will take this one. So I have a dialect and MySQL dialect. That's it. Okay. So always try to choose the official documentation every time there. Why? Because no one can able to explain rather great than a inventor. So inventor only can explain. So that's the reason it's always first go to the official documentation. If you didn't find, so then you can choose some blocks. So this is my Hibernate dialect, MySQL dialect. So this is what my dialect. So, and I will take something like a Spring JPA. So there is something like a DDL auto I need here. So this what? So this I will take something like which you will prefer, create or update.
Update.
update
So we have to take the update. Suppose if you take the create, it will always drop the table, create the table. So instead of this, I will going to be take a update. So I will add another thing also there. So future, because we are in a still a development mode, maybe we are not sure how the table is created or not. So for our debugging purpose, I will add the SQL
QD.
show SQL also I will add. So this one, spring.jp.showSQL true. So it will actually display the query in your logs. If something goes wrong, we can easily identify. So let me cross check. So we are having the URL. And by the way, do we need a driver class or not here? The so-called Java developers who completed the Spring Boot. We need a driver class or not?
no
Our driver class is optional. If you want, we can take. Otherwise, we can left also.
So
it's not
basically,
required
Option.
yes. So basically, how Spring Data will do is it will examine your URL there, data source URL. So whatever, if you see this, have you ever examined this data source URL? So if you see this
yes
data
sir
source URL, every time how it will going to be construct is, it's not about by hearting. If you just carefully see, this is the schema. This is nothing but what database you are using. So this is the host, this is the port number. So always a URL consisting of a schema, host, port number. So let us say if you see HTTP localhost 8080. So HTTP is a schema. Maybe HTTPS is a schema. So localhost is nothing but your host. What is your host? So 8080 is nothing but a port number. Similarly, here also your schema. So JDBC MySQL is a schema. So like a HTTP schema, a JDBC schema, FTP schema, file transfer protocols, mail transfer also having a schema. Every protocol having a schema that starts from the schema only. So every protocols. You in future, if you want to construct your MySQL query or anything, you no need to by heart that one. So just if you are connecting with a something URL means there is a schema. So that based upon that schema that will going to be defined. So I'm constructing the JDBC URL, which means my schema is a JDBC only. I'm constructing the FTP URL. My schema is FTP only. I'm constructing the JMS schema. My schema is a JMS only. I'm constructing the HTTP or HTTPS schema. So that's where your your URL consisting of the schema. So after that, you are having your database, JDBC, maybe MySQL, maybe Oracle, maybe some kind of a SQL server. That your choice, whatever you need. So that's you can able to add that one. After that, hostname origin. So that is what it is constructed. So here your Spring data will going to be focused on this schema, whichever database you used. If you use the JDBC, MySQL, it will going to be automatically load the MySQL driver class. If you use JDBC SQL Server, it will going to be load the SQL the driver class. So based upon that schema, your Spring data will going to be analyze. It will going to be introspect what kind of a driver class it will going to be load. So that's what we are going to be calling as a auto configuration or a Spring data. So auto configuration means that is not a magical. They will do some kind of a strategies. Based upon the strategies, it will going to be reduce the burden of the developer. So we discussed this in a Spring data class also. So if some people from my batch, so we discussed all those things. So yeah, so this is what we just need to do, and username, password, platform. I think everything is good for me. So now let us create entities. So now let me create some kind of a class, and I will going to be add package as the entity. So user entity I'm going to be create here. So simple user entity. So here for this, I will just add something like a private integer. Can I use the int data type?
No, sir, because
Primitive
No,
if
data
you
type.
use int, then it
other
will initialize to
is
the default
always
value.
object type.
Yeah. So I'm just take the user ID and private. I will take a string username and private string. Let us take something like a contact and private. I need to take some kind of a list of orders here. Let me do one thing. Let me create a new class orders. Can I create a order? My table name is a agree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir. Order is the keyword
It
in
will be
the
one
SQL.
class is there.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
The people who attended my previous batch, they know that. So this is a trick I will pay. So basically, order is a keyword here in your SQL query. Order by ascending, order by descending. So that's the reasons any SQL database, especially relational databases, will not allow you to create a table with the order name. So that says I will keep this as the orders. I will going to be keep. And that's when orders will going to be accepted. So my orders I will going to be take. So here simply I will take a private. So integer I will going to be take order ID, private string. So then I'm going to be take something like a order type I will going to be
So
take.
why you cannot take the int here? What are the logic?
Sorry,
You can also take the int, right? Both are fine, na?
I didn't get you. So both are
In place of the
For
integer,
order
you
ID.
can also take int, right?
okay. Instead of integer, you want to take a int. So basically, int is the primitive data type. In Java, what will happen is whenever you create any kind of a primitive data type, it automatically initializes with the default value. That's where we're going to be calling as a boxing we are going to be called. In the future, if you forgot to give some kind of a value, what your Java will going to be do is it will initialize with the default value with the zero. That zero will going to be inserted in the database. If you go for the wrapper classes like a integer, so integer is a wrapper class, which means that is an object. Object by default initializes with a null. In the future, if you forget to give some kind of a value, it will throw the null pointer exception. You are going to be safeguard your data. To avoid this insertion of the default values instead of the primitive data type, it will recommend it to use the wrapper classes. In Java, every primitive data type will going to be initialized with the default value. Int will going to be default with the 0, decimal will going to be initialized with the 0.0, boolean will going to be initialized with the false, and character will going to be decided with the 0. So that's where each and every primitive data type by defaultly initialized with the default value. As a in a future, as a consumer or as a user, if you are forgot to give that value, it will not throw any error. If you use the primitive data type, the default values will going to be inserted. So that will leads to the data mismatch. But if you use the wrapper class, at least it will throw the null pointer exception because integer is the wrapper class. So wrapper class initialized with the null. So null will never allow to insert the database. That's where we are going to be using the wrapper class. Got
Okay,
it?
sir. Yeah, got it. Thanks.
And this is one of the important interview question also, dear. So to check your ORM knowledge, it's a tricky interview question. So can I use the primitive data types in a ORM? You can use, but not recommended. If you use, it will going to be insert the default values that may leads to the inappropriate data insertions. To avoid that, always go to the wrapper classes.
Yes, sir.
So integer I'm going to be taking,
Thanks.
and I will take some kind of a private string order type, and I will take a order status I'm going to be take. So that's it. So let me generate. You can
And
go for
sir,
the some Lombok also, but I didn't added any Lombok. So that's reason I will go for the getters and setters here. Someone asking here.
yeah, is there any other wrapper classes we can use? Same like any integer, do we have something
For
else?
every primitive data type, we are having the wrapper class, dear. Like integer, decimal, we are having the decimal wrapper class. Double, we are having boolean. See,
Okay.
I can just add. See, if you see, this is a primitive data type. In place of this, you are going to be using this boolean, so capital B. So that is nothing but your wrapper class. So every primitive data type having its own wrapper class.
Yeah,
So I
thanks.
just added this one. And now, what is orders, dear? So it is just a Java bean. It is just a Java bean. It don't have any kind of a additional feature. Now we need to convert this into a entity. How we can convert? Just go and
At the rate entity
At the
annotation.
rate entity.
entity annotation. If you want to change the table names, you can use the table annotation. You can give that button. But I'm okay with this because we are giving the orders. That's okay. By default, it will go for that. And here I will going to be take, because when you are using an entity, definitely it will going to be ask you to
Order
define a
ID.
primary
ID.
key. So that the primary key, we can define a ID like this. So if you just define ID like this, so as a developer, you need to insert that primary key. So you need to follow the constraint. Primary constraint is, so it should not be duplicate. It has unique value you need to insert. At least only one null value you can insert. But I don't want to take that burden. So I just want to give that primary key generation also to the ORM tool. So nothing but my JPA. So that's the reason I will take something like generated value. I will
Yeah,
take here. So here I will take a strategy. Strategy means how you want to generate, because you are delegating your primary key generation to the ORM. So how you want to generate? So you want to generate some kind of a sequence order, or some you want to make some
identity.
kind of a common, or if you want to use something like your own custom sequence, such you can take. If you take something like a table wise, it will going to be generate. If you use something like a auto, it will create a common table for your sequence generation. For all the tables, it will going to be take from that. That's not my requirement. So that's the reason I will take something like a identity. I will going to be take.
Identity.
So that's I will going to be take. So that's it. So now this is the orders. So here I will take a user can have a multiple orders, right? A user can able to place a multiple orders or not?
Yes.
Yes.
That
Yes,
to
sir.
Amazon
Yes.
get
One to many.
Intel's.
Yes. Desktop order.
Yeah, that would Amazon get Intel sale also growing there. No one is going to be compromised. So I will take a list of orders. So let us say this is the orders. That's it. Okay. So now I will going to be source generate getters and setters. That's it. Okay. So now let us convert. This is also an entity.
Objective.
So entity, and this also I want to take a primary key and generated value. So let us take a strategy and identity I'm going to be take. That's it. Okay. So here one thing is, whenever you are going to be dealing with the object to object in a ORM, you need to deal with the associations you need to make up. So as a user, you are thinking a user can able to have the multiple orders, but ORM tool don't know any astrology. It will not going to be do any kind of a calculations. You need to tell, hey, ORM tool, my user can have consisting of a multiple orders. So that's the reason we are going to be do some kind of associations. So a user
One
can
too
able to
many.
have a
One
multiple.
one too many.
One too many.
Yeah.
One too many.
So one too many, I will going to be take, and I will take something like a cascade here. So the purpose of the cascade is, suppose in the future, if you delete some record of a user, user related orders also need to delete, right? Associated orders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes,
the
sir.
reason we are taking the cascade I'm going to be taking. So we are having the different kind of a cascade types you are having. Detach, you are having merge, persist, all those things. So persist means only saving time only I'm going to be taking. Deleting time, I'm not bothered about that orders, only user I want to delete. So that's how you can able to take. But I'm taking the all. So at the time of the insertion or a deletion, updating, I need to think about that orders also. That's the reason cascading type I'm going to be taking, all I'm going to be taking. And I will take some join column for my own purpose. So here, what I will do is, by defaultly, your join column, I will take name as a user ID I will take here. This is nothing but the foreign key which is declared in your association. So that's join column I will take. So by default, how your ORM2 will do is, it will take the table name underscore your primary key underscore, it will going to be created. That will be used as a foreign key. So this one to many, and to safeguard, what I will do is, or because cascade type all are used, I need to think about the orders also. Multiple orders going to be matched to the single user. One too many unidirectional was happen, but the same way that unidirectional also happens. So for a safeguard in the future. So I will do one thing. I will just take something like a private user. So I will take this as a user. I'm just going to be take. So this user, I will take something like a many to one. So here also cascade type all I'm going to be take. That's it. We don't need to do anything. So just that is sufficient. So because a single user can consisting of the multiple orders, the same way vice versa. Multiple users can having the single user, many to one. So that's I'm going to be taking. I will do one thing. So in future, what will happen is, whenever a user trying to fetching the orders again having the user data, that JSON serialization will going to be fail. So that's the reason what I will do is, JSON ignore I will going to be add, because this we don't require. So because user need orders don't need to hold the this user detail. That's the reason just I'm taking the JSON ignores. That's it. So that's it. So I think we are done. Entities is done. So now let me create
So please
another.
explain one more time, like JSON ignore.
So here what will happen is, I want to use this entity directly as a response. So that time what will happen is, user having the user ID key, username key, contact key, and orders key. So it will generate the response like this. So now JSON, it will going to be giving a user ID some value, and username some value, and orders it will going to be give. In this orders, we are having the order type and order status. And again, if you are having this in this orders, again, if you are having the user, this user also come as a JSON response. Again, this user consisting of a all this username orders. So that's how it's become a loop. So JSON parsing here. So your Java object will going to be converted as a JSON object. So your user object consisting of the order. Again, order consisting of your user. If you didn't use the JSON ignore, again user details will going to be generated. User details again having the order again having the user. So that's where continuous loop will going to be happen. So that's where to break that one, already user details I'm retrieving here. User details I'm having here. Again, in orders response, I don't require user details. That's the reason I'm using the JSON ignore. Got it?
We can use
Yes, sir.
unidirectional mapping, no, in this case.
Sorry?
In this case, we can use unidirectional mapping instead of going bidirectional.
Yeah, that's your choice,
Yes,
dear.
yes.
So that's all about how
Sir,
we are designing.
JSON ignore required in unidirectional or in both?
JSON is not at all related to association, dear. So just to avoid some JSON parsing, you will use a JSON resource, JSON ignore. This is not belonging to any kind of a ORM. So in a Spring, you are using a REST API. So you are in a Spring, what will happen is your Java object automatically parsed by the JAX RP. So there, your object mapper will going to be consider your properties, each and every object property as a JSON key. Automatically, it will going to be converted. So if you don't want to parse any of your property to a JSON key, you can use this JSON ignore. So this is not belong to ORM. So just this is a JSON parser. That's it. So no very associations also. So as some people told, you can use the uni associations also, but just for my comfort, I'm using this one. So we can convert that one also, not a problem.
So if we use ignore JSON on user, then how we get user?
See, in orders, I will not get the user. So now I will get a only order type, order status. That's it. User I will get here, right? User details directly I will get from the user object. So my requirement is I will retrieve the user. User consisting of the orders. So orders not consisting of the user. So that's what I'm designing.
Okay, now got it, sir.
Yeah. So here that's it. And now let us create our repository.
If
So
you
I will
use
take
the
repository.
JSON ignore case at the column level also, it will not come, right, sir? That will not come. In
Yes.
user, if you do, thank you, sir.
Yes, your choice. So user repository. So interface and
Beta.
so I can
Tamid,
repository.
क्यों परेशान हो भाई? क्यों रो रही हो भाई?
म्यूट कर लो भाई.
Guys, please go on mute.
Okay, Sunday, right? We have to bear this one. We supposed not to pay.
Sir,
Should
is this video going to be uploaded on YouTube by any chance?
I think it is already live streaming there. You can
I
find
think
it.
it's on YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Is it possible to increase font size? It's very small.
Definitely, dear. Your wish is my command.
Thank you, sir.
So let me take. Just use something like a 12 and 12 apply and apply close. Good.
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm taking the user repository. So now extends. So the so-called Java developers, which interface you want? I mean, which repository?
JPA repository.
Repository.
JPA repository.
So here entity is
Users, integer, integer type of the primary.
That's it. Okay. So currently, one thing. So should I need to add a at repository annotation or not?
Not
Add
required.
optionally, we can.
We extend JPK repository by default repository also.
And
Not
we
required,
don't
but
need
it
to.
is recommended because it's also provides some related SQL type of exception.
Exactly. In the future, if you're performing some SQL validations, so sometimes what will happen is some kind of a lazy initializations that time. So your repository annotation plays a major role. So that's the reason recommended to add. So that's the reason I'm going to be adding. Even if you didn't do also, that's fine. Okay, not a problem. So that's it. I just had a repository and that's sufficient. And can just do new some class. You can just create a service and then you can do it here in the account of the time. I don't want to do that kind of additional stuff. I can directly develop the controller. I'll just do user controller. You can create a service there. You can do all those this auto waiting of your repository to the service. All those things you can do. So I can just do controllers. So that's it. So this I will take as a REST controller I'm going to be taking.
Controller.
So here I can just, I will do one thing. I will add some kind of a request mapping also because prefix API. So user I'm going to be add. So now I can simply take public. So I will take a user repository. So I can just take a repository. So I will just going to be take this something like a auto void and public. So list of users I will take get users I will going to be take. So directly I will do return repository find all I will going to be take. So this I will going to be take a get mapping. So I will just give a slash all. That's it. So like the same way, let me just instead of 12, let me take a 11 here because it's becoming a more larger to me. I will go for the 11. Okay. So now let me create a public. I will take it. I want to create a user here. So save user I will take. So here I will take a post mapping. So here I will take a request body. So user I will going to be take. So it is nothing but a user return repository dot save your user. That's it. And okay, so we need to give something like a slash save. And just I want to add a some method, so which will going to be get a user by ID. If you want to get a name also, you can do that, your choice. I will going to be return repository get by ID. So let us give a integer ID. So that's I'm going to be giving UID. So this
Sir, find by ID, we can also use get by ID is duplicated now, outdated this time.
your choice. You can use the find by ID, not a problem. That's it. So here what will happen is find by ID will going to be written the optional. So if a user is defined, that's fine. So you can return type is the user. I will do one thing. If a user is not found, I will directly throw an exception.
User not found, we can give.
That you need to create, right? User not found exception you need to create.
Custom exception we need to create.
Yeah. So now I can just give a runtime exception directly. User not found. with the ID, you can give a user ID. That's it. And this also I will take a get mapping. So I can just simply use this user ID here. That's it. Okay. So now our prefix is a slash user. User slash all will return the users. User slash save will going to be save an user. User slash some user ID which going to be return the particular user ID. So that's will going to be written. So that's it. So now let us quickly check our application. So run as Spring Boot app. Okay, so database is created. So Tomcat is done. So now let me check. Show tables, orders and user. So describe orders. So we have a order ID, order status, user ID, and a user UID. Okay. So this two things it has supposed not to be created. Two foreign keys it is created, user ID, UID. Okay. So the problem here is go to your entity. So here make UID. So because your primary key is a UID. So because it is created a join column again a user underscore ID. I don't want to take that. I will go with the default column. So default foreign key I will go user underscore user ID. So for that what I will do is let me drop the database. Okay. Create database, use database, show tables. Currently don't have. So let us just quickly restart. So that restart. Okay. So now to describe orders. So I'm having the user underscore ID, only one. Makes sense. Username. Okay. So actually earlier what happened is I taken join column as a user underscore ID. So that's the reason it created another new foreign column. So this will be used as a unused. So unnecessary columns I don't want to encourage. So that's the reason I just use the default column. So user ID. So the default column I want to use. So that's the reason I just use. Now see only one foreign key that is created user underscore ID. So this will going to be hold our mappings.
Sir, like then why we use join column? Like if you don't want to change the name of the column because we are taking default, then why we are using the name here, user UID?
Just for the cascading. For a cascading, I use the cascading type there also many to one association to avoid the round robin JSON parsing. So that's I use the JSON column, join column.
Okay.
If you didn't use the many to one there, you don't need to use here.
Okay.
Okay, so now let us go there. Let us first suppose get localhost users. Sorry, user slash all, I think. So we don't have any users, empty. So now let us create a user, save. I'm trying to post an user body, raw JSON. So now, so what are the attributes I need to give? Do I need to give a user ID?
ID, username, contact.
ID we no need to give, right? Because
So yeah, it's
Username contact only.
it's auto generation. Sorry.
Auto generate.
you can't cheat me. So I'm giving this and contact. So let us do one thing. Okay, then
That's it.
orders. Orders also we need to give, right?
On the list.
So list of orders, you need to take an array with the square braces, array of object you need to give. So this orders consisting of order type, order status. Order ID also you no need to give because auto generated. Order type. So let us give something like books. I'm going to be give. And here order status delivered. So just to beautify. So this one. So this was one order I placed. So save it. So one order I placed, user ID this one. So now you can just check in a database, select a star from user. So user ID, contact, all those things, and orders, and we have this one, and user ID 1 is associated. It makes sense. So now I will do one thing. So let me create another user. Let us say Vivek and Vivek. So instead of a books, I will going to give something like a electronics. Okay. Let us place a new order. We no need to be compromised. Laptop is just shipped, not yet delivered. So Vivek and contact, I'm sending this one. So Vivek having these two things and order ID these things. So now you can check. So Vivek is inserted and orders. So both is belonging to the user ID too. So electronics and laptop both belong to the user ID too. That's it. So that's it. If you want to create another new user, you can create a new user. Let us say Anand, something like Anand. So we'll do one thing. So this user, Anand user, we are going to be created through GraphQL. So this is what. So now our REST API is done. So now examine the REST API. So let us say I'm having the mobile client here. So this is my result I'm going to be getting. So let us say I'm having a web API, I mean web application. So in a browser, you are going to be accessing or a desktop. So you want to retrieve all the users. So you send a request to your server. Your server return the response. So this is the response you are having. So this is the response you are having. So whole response you got to your web API. So you just mentioned /user/1 or something you given or 2, that whole you can given. Let us say like a user/1 get mapping. So you can just send particular user details, it is retrieved. So fine. So now you are going to be retrieving all those things in a web API that makes sense, all the data you got. So now I'm having a mobile API. In a mobile application, what I'm having is by defaultly, I don't want to show the orders because in a mobile, just logged in, I will just show a username contact only. If we click the orders, so let us say if you just check in your Myntra app or any kind of a Amazon app, by defaultly, they will not show the your placed orders. You need to go to the orders and you need to click that. So then only you can able to see that one. So now the same way I want to implement that one. So in a mobile application, I just told to the mobile developer, hey, mobile developer, you can use this user/ID. Then I'm going to give the response. So he actually sent the request. In a response, he got the order details. Then he asked Harsha, okay, I'm able to get the user details, but boss, I'm getting unnecessary details also, man. I'm getting the orders also, but in through your API, my mobile is a limited data. I cannot because user. So let us say today you are having the only 2 orders only. In the future, you are having the 10 orders you placed. 10 orders I need to consume. On a mobile internet, I'm having the slow mobile data. Then this much of heavy data loading on my mobile API make a little bit difficult to me. So then could you please change the API for me? He asked the mobile developer asked to me. Now I want to change the API. Suppose if I change the API here, for example, I'm going to be remove these orders from here. So I will going to be add the JSON ignore at here. So instead of orders, here I will add the JSON ignore. I will add the JSON ignore. Now if I just restart, now my orders will not going to be retrieved. And this will going to be affect on the, suppose if I just click here, orders is not retrieving, only user details code retrieving. Now mobile developer is happy, so he is actually consuming the API, but web developer is complaining, Harsha, I need orders also. Every time I'm not able to send the request, that is a huge number of calls. So once you give the users and orders, then I'm going to be store in some my cache or something I will do, but I need orders also. So mobile developer is going to be getting. So now tell me, so is your response is hard coded or not?
Yeah, response is hard coded. That's why we use GraphQL, because using GraphQL, both will be happy, web developer and mobile developer.
So this is the problem. Everyone got the use case? REST API will have a advantage. But the problem here is whenever you are having the multiple clients, if each and every client needs some kind of a heterogeneous data, which means different kind of a data, so then that is a problem. So which means for every time I will use a GraphiQL, Harsha, means no, not required. Suppose if you are having the mobile client and you are having the web client, both are using the same amount of data, both are using the same homogeneous data, then you can happily go for the REST API, no issues. But if you are having the multiple devices, multiple clients, each and every device need a different kind of things, so then you can go for the GraphiQL. To just make sure, suppose if you see, I added the JSON ignore for the orders. For web application, orders is not retrieving. For web API, this is underfetched, right? Data is underfetched, right? What are the necessary data for web application? It is not getting, right? See here,
Yes.
it is underfetched. Suppose if I remove the JSON ignore, then for mobile application, this is the
Overfetched.
overfetched. So this is the problem, either underfetched or overfetched. If I go for the REST API, if you are having the multiple client applications and they are having a different kind of use cases and they are having a different kind of requirements, so then either you will fall under the underfetching or overfetching of data. To solve this issue, we are having a GraphiQL. So how we can use the GraphiQL is, so you can first you need to define a schema here. So let us go there. In our GraphiQL, you need to just create a file. Can just create a file. So I will use something like a user schema. User schema dot extension must be GraphQL or GraphQL S, your choice here. So GraphQL or GraphQL S, recommendation is a GraphQL S. Even in a Spring Boot documentation also, from Spring Boot 3 onwards, GraphQL S is using. GraphQL is also accepted. Like in a Spring Boot application, how many formats you can give to your properties? Application.properties, application.yaml also you can give, right? Similarly, here also GraphQL or GraphQL yes, anything is fine. So I'm giving the GraphQL as Spring Boot 3.5 onwards. It is recommended. GraphQL S is recommended. So I'm just taking this GraphQL S. So here I need to define my schema, nothing but what I want to return. So I will just take the type is the GraphQL and make sure your class name as a type. So user. So here I will going to be return user ID. This is the property I'm having. So this is the primary key. So this is the reference is the ID. So user name, this is what I given, I think, and contact. Data type is a string. So contact data type is a string. It's a kind of a JSON, but you don't need to define that double quotes, all those things. Just you need to define that one. And I will get some kind of orders also. So my orders class name is this one, orders. So orders. So here I'm having the, what is the ID here? ID means your primary key or something, dear.
OID.
OID. So OID. That's you can define a ID like this. Then we are having something like
Sir,
order
why,
type, order
sir,
status.
sir, why we have used UID type is ID instead of integer?
In a future, in a GraphQL query, I'm having one method called as in your controller, I want to find based upon the ID. So this I want to use an attribute. GraphiQL query attribute I want to use. So that's the reason I use the ID here. If you use the integer, so then that is just a property. But if you want to make that as an attribute for your GraphiQL schema, so you need to use that ID you need to use.
Okay.
Yeah. So order type, I'm just taking the string I'm going to be taking. So this one.
Sir, in schema, name should be the match. Exact name should be match, right, sir?
Oh, yes.
The variable.
Because we are using the Spring Boot, because to enjoy the auto configuration of the Spring Boot, if you take the schema exact as the class name, Spring Boot will going to be matching. But if you didn't do that one, again, you need to take an object mapper and you need to create a GraphiQL configuration class. So this is schema read and you need to add that one. So that's you need to add that one. Resource dot get a GraphiQL schema that you need to write. To enjoy the Spring Boot auto configuration, so we are taking the same as a class name. So then automatically Spring Boot will going to be map that thing.
Okay. Class name and variable name also same, right, sir?
Yes, yes. So order type we are having and orders, sorry, status string. And one thing, dear, in a user we are having another thing, right? Orders we are having, right?
Yes, sir.
Users. Okay, so here orders. Now the beauty is this is the list of orders. You need to give an array. This orders you need to mention here. List of orders. So this objects, whatever the type you define, that's you need to mention here. So then it will going to be retrieved. So that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. Now, as of now, we just declare it is nothing but you are going to be defining the skeleton of your objects. So now you need to define the query. So coming to the GraphQL here, let us say in your REST API, you are having the get for retrieve, post for saving or inserting, put for updating, delete for deleting. You are having these many things, but whole thing was managed with a post call only, dear. In a GraphiQL, we don't have a get or put or delete. Everything we are having the post call, but it internally creates some kind of a post call only. But retrieving of data, we need to define query. So retrieving means you are going to be querying. Retrieving means you are going to be querying. Suppose if you want to do any kind of a creating or updating or deleting some kind of a modifications you are going to be doing. So that's we are going to be calling as a mutation we are going to be called. Mutation we are going to be called. These remaining post put to delete operation you can do with the mutation. So here internally what will happen is your GraphiQL query will going to be allowed to change the schema if it is a mutation. Your GraphiQL query will not allow to change the schema if it is a query. Query means idempotent. So you cannot able to change the schema. So that will not affect any kind of update operations, all those things. So if it is a put operation, post operation, delete operation, so that's we are going to be calling is a mutation we are going to be called. Only two things here. But with respect to of the HTTP, all are the post only. You don't have a get or a put or delete. Everything is a post. But with respect to the GraphiQL terminology, you are having the queries and a mutation. Query means retrieving. Mutation means that may be anything. Maybe inserting or updating or deleting. That may be anything. That is the mutation. So this is the two things. In a GraphiQL, you frequently hear three terminologies: schema, query, mutation. Schema means skeleton. You are going to be defined. This is the schema. As of now, I'm done with the schema. Now I need to do the query. So query for the retrieving. Query for the retrieving. So mutation for the updation. Maybe creation. Maybe deletion. So for the mutation we are going to be used. So currently I want to retrieve the data. Retrieving means
Querying.
so type query. So you need to define the type query. So these all are the schemas, dear. These all are the schemas, nothing but your skeletons. Now I'm writing the query. So you can take a query. So get users I'm going to be take. That's it. I'll just define the get users. That's it. Okay. So if you want to pass some kind of arguments, you can just use this parenthesis. Otherwise, you can just remove that. So colon return type. What you are going to be return. Get users. What is the return here? Get users. What you are expecting?
List of users.
List of users.
List of users means array
Correct,
users.
yes.
So just you need to give this user here. This type user you need to give here. That's it. Type query. That's it. Okay. Now my query, my schema is done. So you won't believe here, when we are working with the Spring Boot 2.0 at that time, we need to create this query, map this object mapper, all those things we need to do. But from Spring Boot 3 onwards, beauty is you just create a method same as the whatever the query you created in your controller, automatically your data will going to be retrieved. So I will do one thing. Instead of a user controller, I will create a new controller. I'll just create a new controller. So class user GraphQL controller. So that's it. Finish. So you need to just annotate with the controller there, not more than that. So controller. So you can just give the public, and I want to take a list of users. So list of user we need to retrieve from the database, right? So user repository, I will take a repository. Let me auto wire. So here I will take a list of user. Okay. Now the method name same as the schema what we created. So get user same as I will going to be take. That's it. So here return repository dot find all. That's it. So now here retrieving. Retrieving means this is the query. So in Spring Boot, you are having one annotation here. You can just use the query mapping. Query mapping. That's it. You don't have any.
In user controller, we have used direct get mapping, right? By using graphical, we need to follow different approach. Am I correct?
Yeah, like a get mapping. Here, query mapping. There you are having the post mapping, put mapping, delete mapping.
Yes.
That all is replaced with the mutation mapping.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's it. I'm just
Sir,
done.
why?
So,
Sir, why is a controller instead of REST controller?
REST controller, it will going to be expect the JSON of your object. Again, it will going to be give a response, internal user response entity. So your data is actually hard coded. So if you go for the controller, every request will going to be hit the dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet will going to be delegated to this controller. There you are having the GraphiQL interceptor internally having that will going to be called by the controller. To invoke the GraphiQL interceptor internally instead of the REST controller, we will use the controller. Mechanism is the different, right? If you see, REST controller is a combination of a controller plus response body.
Yes.
If a response body came into the picture, means your response is already hard coded. You don't have a mutation, all those things concept. So to avoid that response body, we need to add the GraphiQL. So like in a controller don't have a response body. It will has to depend upon either view resolver. Now GraphiQL resolver, it has to be depend. So that's the reason we are taking the controller. Okay.
So,
Sir,
sir,
it is always,
sir, if you use controller, then here come MVC pattern, sir, followed.
MVC pattern, semi MVC pattern will going to become. So whenever dispatcher select come into the picture, so controller will look for the either request mapping or get mapping. But we are having the query mapping. So that's where your controller will going to be delegate to the GraphiQL mapping. So until hitting the dispatcher servlet only MVC, but from there onwards query mapping will going to be hit. So in a might be you aware or not, interceptor concept we are having. So in a Spring MVC we discussed that interceptor. So this interceptor will going to be invoked based upon the request. So here every GraphiQL request will going to become /GraphiQL. So slash graph will come into the picture means dispatcher servlet delegate to the GraphiQL interceptor. Internally, how it will do is your Spring container. First dispatcher servlet will going to be come into the picture. If anything slash GraphiQL, it will going to be communicate with the GraphiQL data fetcher. So that is one of the interface here in a Spring you can see. So here annotated controllers internally. So your controller components use annotation declare handler methods. So in your at controller, we are having the different kind of handler methods, view resolver handler. So thus handler methods. So this handler methods will going to be redirect to your GraphiQL. So internally, so your data fetcher, this will going to be invoked instead of your view resolver. So this data fetcher will going to be
Yes.
invoked. So that's what will happen here internally. Suppose if it is not having any GraphiQL, suppose if it is having like a slash user, so instead of a GraphiQL data fetcher, it will going to be hit your actual controller. Actual controller, and remaining is the same. So like a service, all those things remaining is the same. So internal configuration is dealt by the view handlers. I mean handler methods we are having here. That handler methods will going to be taken care.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's one normal MVC. It will return at a return forward model and view. So
Model
here
and
it
view,
will.
yes. It is a GraphiQL. GraphiQL are going to be data fetcher will going to be involved. So that is the one of the interceptor. That interceptor will going to be compose your data. Okay.
With the help of at the rate controller, it will expect a Spring MVC, web MVC, but we are not having that. Again, we are having at-the-rate control query mapping, so it will expect the graphical data dispatcher, sir.
Exactly, dear. So what it will do is whenever IOC container will going to be used your component scanner will going to be scan all your beans, right? At the
Yeah.
time of initialization.
Yes, sir.
So if in any controller, if it is find any query mapping or a mutation mapping, component scanner will going to be prepare a metadata. Boss, this is not a MVC controller. This is the GraphiQL controller. So you need to fetch the data from the GraphiQL. So that's what it is going to be do. So at the time of a starting of application, it will going to be do. So that's also I will show how it will going to be do. So
So
it's
how did you recognize it is GraphQL?
this one there, query mapping.
Okay. Okay. This query
Yeah.
mapping.
Yeah. So that
Okay.
recognition also I will show. So as of now, we didn't added any GraphiQL schema, right? Earlier
Yes.
we
Yes.
have only REST. Now see in a log, you don't have anything related to the GraphiQL. So now I added the query mapping and I added the GraphiQL schema. So once if I start, so now it will going to be give. So yeah. So now we added the query mapping and get users, and we are having
Sir,
this
is
query
request
mapping.
mapping not required here?
No, not required. That's what request mapping, if you take means that is the get mapping. So here we don't have a get mapping and a GraphiQL. Everything is a query mapping and a mutation mapping. So, okay. But for external, that is a post mapping. Whoever want to do, that is everything is a post mapping. So now I'm just restarting here. Now you can carefully see here. In a log, GraphiQL will going to be loaded. See. So this your GraphiQL is going to be loaded. Schema
Yes,
inspection.
sir.
At the time of a starting of your application, so your resources will be loaded. There is a graphical schema. So graphical schema inspection will going to be do. So then it will going to be create an endpoint called as a slash GraphiQL post. So everything is going to be added to the slash GraphiQL post only. Okay. So now if I want to retrieve the data, so here you need to take something like a post method, HTTP, localhost 8080 /GraphiQL. That's it. Everything will, this is a standard endpoint. Even in future, if you add any kind of a mutation also, standard endpoint. So now in your body, so this is some tricky part here, but actually I will show some easy way to consume how it will do. That's I will going to be show. So I can go raw and JSON. So the you need to pass the query. Can just pass the query. So you can JSON format. So here what you can do is query. You can use some name for your query here. I can just say get all users, some name you can use. And here, this is nothing but a method name like that you can just call. That's fine. And here, what you need to do is your actual schema name, what your actual query name. So what is your actual query name?
Get users.
So get users. So you can just give that get users. So now in this get users, you can just whatever the attributes you want to get, you can just use. For example, I need a user ID and I need a username and I need a contact. That's it. So now I can just send here. HTTP localhost / we missed. So now I can just send it. So now you can see get users, list of users. I got a user ID. I got a username. I got a contact, right? Let us say I need orders also. So just that's actually depends what you configured. So in my schema, I mentioned the orders. Orders is a list of orders. So now I can just give a orders also. I can just send. Now see, validation error, subselection orders, required type orders field. Okay.
Sir, why we are using extra thing like in value format, like we are using query get all users? These things required really?
This one you need query get all users.
Things I think we don't require. Na? Why we are using this? Network.
This we need here. Basically, GraphiQL, it will going to be take a query as a key, and this some reference time it will going to be take.
Okay. It can be anything. Na?
Yeah, you can get it.
It can give like my application users also, whatever you want, sir.
Your choice, dear. So just my application also you can give, and it will going to be retrieved. No
It
worries.
it may
If
be
you want to
beneficial
post
for
some data,
client
sir.
side.
Post mutation. Till now we
Okay.
didn't do that one, but
Okay.
we got an issue that till now we didn't retrieve that. We are unable to retrieve the orders. So sub-selection required type orders. Okay. So actually what it is happening is orders is an object right here. Actually orders is an object, right?
Yes, sir.
Again, we need to
So
Yes.
inside that
refer it.
orders, what you need, it is asking. So you need a sub-selections, boss. What you need, you can tell me. So I can just select something like order ID only. So I can just send. Now see, in orders, only order ID got retrieved. Let us say I need a order type also and a status also. Order type and order status. So I can just send. Now see your orders consisting of order type, order status. Now, did I change anything in my REST? I mean, in my API?
No, sir. So there
So
is no
No,
common
sir.
separator, sir.
no,
User
no,
ID.
no, not required.
That
Everything is
means
actually
without
string.
specifying like OID, order type, if you give only orders, that whole object has to come. Is it possible by doing that? Because if you have 100 fields, we can't do all the fields, no, sir.
That means again you are hard coding.
Sir, we need to match that UID username contact to the schema what we created as a field in the SQL, right, sir?
Exact matching, yeah. Suppose if you give something like a user ID, now it will not going to be retrieved. User ID not in a user type. Because schema we don't have that. So whatever the schema you are having, that you need to
At
give.
the client, how you are going to send this request?
So
Sir,
what the client will do is, so two ways, dear. If you are using some kind of a legacy application, so like take your HTTP post method / GraphQL, and you need to construct like this JSON object, and you can pass this as a query from your client. Legacy application. Suppose if you are using the latest applications like a Angular or a React or a Vue.js or any kind of a latest frameworks, you are having the GraphQL client libraries you are having. So there you can just GraphQL client data query. You need to just pass these attributes. That's it. So
sir,
let us
if I
say,
want to tell in response, I need to get like order status delivered on today. If I want to manipulate some data, you want to get response, can we do in that query, sir?
that you need to do there. As of now, you didn't do the schema. Just you created only one schema only.
Okay.
So you need to create another new schema. So then you can able to do that operations.
If that query itself in line number 2, we can't do, sir. Order status, like delivery, something we can't do like that.
Thus you need to filter, right? So the filter mappings you need to add. Just we are, as of now, we do the query only. So step by step we will see.
Okay. That is also possible
Yes,
from
yes,
Graph.
possible.
Yeah.
Filters we are having. Filters we are having.
Sir,
Okay.
GraphQL is more beneficial when we come with a retrieval operation. Yes, sir.
Yes, retrieval operations.
Okay, for the post and delete and update, we still go with the
REST approach is a
REST only.
suggestible. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, one
So
question.
we use both in a hybrid way. It's more beneficial. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, in that case, we need to go for two REST controllers. One is for mutations, one like going like legacy one, and
Al-
new one is
Already we
retrieving
are
for
having, right?
GraphQL.
See, already we are having the user controller. Here you can do the save operations. This is for retrieving.
For a graphical user, we need to go for a latest controller for
Yeah.
retrieving. Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, please put some more light on how we create a schema, like what the best practice to do.
That is the beauty of the GraphiQL layer. You don't have any best practices. You need to just define, and you need to whatever the attributes you need that you can retrieve. So here you can just see post, and here this is a little bit difficult, right? So like a testing also, query my application, it is a bit difficult, right? Let me show you a trick to you. If you are using the Postman, you can just take a new, take a GraphiQL. So just give your endpoint here, 8080, it automatically fetched here. It automatically fetch. You can see we have one query, get users, right?
Yes.
So you can just select this, and here whatever the attributes you need, you can just check and you can just select. It will create the query like this, get users. So you can just send it. Now see, all the users got retrieved. So let us say orders also you need. You can just select the orders. In these orders, by default, it is
Yeah.
selected. You can just select. You can just see all the orders. Suppose you don't need a order ID, you can just uncheck and you can see retrieve this one. So this is one of the easiest way testing of your GraphiQL query by using the Postman. Like the same way, you are having the Angular clients also, Node.js clients also, React clients also, and one microservice want to communicate with another microservice. They're like how you are having the REST template, GraphiQL template also you are having. So there you can construct the query and you can do either a mutation or querying. So they're having the different libraries you are having that will actually help you to perform these querying operations.
Sir, one thing I want to share here. Actually, in MuleSoft, that is also integration tool. There we are using like same pattern data views. Sir.
Yeah.
If
Sir,
we want to
for
fetch
the sir,
query like get by ID and
We'll do,
or
dear.
one.
We'll do. That's our next operation only.
Sir, for the Postman, this GraphQL GraphQL need to configure by external or internally to come.
Nothing, dear. So just this is my graphical URL, right? So as I mentioned at the time of starting of your application, once the graphical introspect was done, it will give a endpoint to you. So boss, it is running on the /GraphiQL. So plain Postman, you just click here new. Are able to see here my cursor?
Yeah.
New GraphiQL. That's it. Just you need to give that URL. That's it. And automatically it will fetch. So if you carefully observe, if you just give here,
it will fetch on the real time.
Yes, yes. If you just give here, it will sending the request. So then it will, how many queries you are having, all the queries it will going to be load. And it will show all those things also. So now I want to check this get users query. Select this and whichever the thing. Let us say I don't need a user ID, I just need a username. And I need a orders, only I need a order status only. Remaining thing I don't record. I can just send, only that's I can able to retrieve. Okay.
So, sir, schema we have to do manually, right, sir? So there is
Yes.
no object map or something or some.
Nothing. We have to define here. That is like
Okay.
a programming.
Okay. So, I mean, this schema we have to explicitly we have to handle it.
Yes.
And sir,
So
here, sir, any number of controller or must be only one?
your choice there, any number of controller.
Okay. So it will map with only a query mapping, right, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, for best application practice, like for like DML operation, we need to use REST API. For reading purpose, like get operations, we are using this GraphQL things only, right?
Yes.
If we use like different controller for our like communication with the applications, then our class will be overloaded with the controller only. It will be a good practice or not?
That's where what we will do is we'll just going to be make this consumer service in a microservice architecture. GraphiQL consumer service in a different service we are going to be maintained.
Okay, understood, sir.
Sir, we are good to see that also, sir, how consumer services is going to consume graphical endpoints like that.
That's why we need to take some Angular, all those things here. So we'll plan something some other
Sir,
time.
in Java, how two REST services will communicate, sir? Like provider and consumer is there, right? If
Two
by
things
using
we are
graphical,
having. Two things we are having. REST client you are having, web client you are having. Is if it is a REST API, you can use the REST client, or if it is asynchronous communication, you can go for the web client.
yeah, now we are using REST that by using graphical also is same like
GraphiQL,
how.
yeah, GraphiQL client you are having. So there you can able to send the request to that query or mutation.
I mean
The
to ask like
graphical QL is work with the same service and the repository internally, right, sir?
That is actually ideally best practice.
Sir, basically I meant to ask like for REST API communication we can use REST template for synchronous and web client for asynchronous.
Blocking and non-blocking. REST template is the blocking interface. Web client is a non-blocking.
Okay, but if you want to communicate with GraphQL controller, like GraphQL controller mapping URLs, then what we use for like communication?
REST client or REST template only you can use, and you can send the post mapping. So and you can just send here, and in a request body you can just pass like this.
The
Query
graphical
and
QL work with the same services, like same business logic.
Same business logic. I didn't get that.
Like in the graphical QL, we have a separate REST controller. So we have a separate service or separate repository, or we can use the same service.
Generally, we'll use the same service only there, but new repositories, if you maintain, it's ad hoc, right? Unnecessarily.
Okay, so we can use the same service internally. It will.
Yeah. So even here also, if you see in a user controller, this repository auto-wide, same repository auto-wide in here itself. Like the
Yes,
same way,
yes,
same
that's why.
service, I will going to be make a usability.
Okay.
Yeah. So now like the same way, you can just do one thing there. So like the query, I will use get user. So single user. So I can just use the get user. So your choice, I can just use the get user. So for this get user, I want to take a user ID. I want to take there. So return type is here. It is a list of users. Here return type is a single user. So just I will going to be maintain like this. Okay. So now this I will going to be controller and here. So public. So single user. So as I mentioned, whatever the method you mentioned in the schema, same you can just mention here, dear. Okay. This actually follows the case sensitive also. There I use the capital U. That's why I use the capital U here. So that's it. And return. I can just go to the here and can just copy and paste here. That's it. So now this is a retrieving only, right?
Take parameter. Yeah, we need to take parameter also.
Query mapping. Yeah. So parameter also what you can do is you can just do integer, and here schema, whatever the name you use, same you can use. Then you don't require any additional mapping. So just you can annotate with at attribute. Attribute. Not this one. Sorry, not attribute, argument. That's it. So this argument is the GraphiQL there, GraphiQL. So just save it. That's it. So now let us restart our application.
Sir, here why we can't use like UID as a ID here, like as we use in schema?
If you use the ID, that is this is a Java code, right? Java code, there is no data type like ID.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
But schema we okay, we will not follow schema for like data type.
Yeah.
This is only for GraphiQL query ID.
Yes. Yeah. So now you can just see, now I'm having here. So now you can just query like a get user like this, or you can do one thing here. You can just take a, so now we added the new, so now I can just new GraphiQL. So now I can just use that GraphiQL. Now it loaded. Now see, we got the two queries. One is to get all the users. You can just select this and you can send. It will going to return all users. So user ID 1, user ID 2 like this. So I don't want to do this one. I want to use a get users. You can just select this. So this is the argument, which means input. So you can just select this. You can pass some value. So let us say I want to pass a user ID 1. So I can just send. So now query will going to be created like this here. So send it. So now you can see only user ID 1 is retrieved. For this user ID, you want to retrieve the order. So you can just select and you can send. You can retrieve all the users. Suppose I want to get a 2, then you can just send it. So without passing also, sometimes you can able to send empty value also. That's where you will get your internal exception. So how you can solve this one is, user ID is a mandatory for me, right?
Yes.
In my schema, then you can, in your schema, what you need to do is you need to just give a exclamation symbol. So then it will demand you. So this is the mandatory. So at any cost you need to pass. Otherwise your query will not going to be executed. So now just close it. So new GraphiQL. So let's give it. So introspection was done. So now you can see get user. Now see exclamation was added, which means if you just select this one, definitely you need to give this value. So if you didn't give this a value, so then it is going to be error. So now see if I just remove this, it is showing us some error. It is going to be showing an error. So it will not going to be give. So if I give a 1, so then I can able to retrieve the data. So or that's I can able to retrieve the data. That's what. So that's how I can able to retrieve the data by passing this one. So like someone asked how I can able to retrieve the order. So similarly, you can just create a get order. So for that, first you need to create a method in your repository. So currently we don't have any order repository. So first we need to create order repository. So there it is some value we need to take. If it is a matched with order status delivered, so then that's a thing we need to do. So this is all about the query here. So now I want to manipulate the data. Let us say I want to insert the data. So insert the data under come to the mutation. So type mutation. So here you need to save a user. So I can take the save user method, but a save user method, I need a data object I need.
Yes.
So here, if you want to, as of now, this is all about the schemas only there, type user, type order schema only. Now, if you want to something as a input, if you actually that is a DAO. So DAO is already mapped. So let us do one thing. We'll take some DTO.
User.
So input, so we are going to be telling, I'm giving this object as the input I'm going to be taking. So user input I'm going to be take. So in this user input, so I will take something like a username,
Contact.
contact, nothing but
List.
string, and I need something like orders also.
Order.
List of orders we need to
List.
paste. So I will take input. And remember one thing, dear, if you define something like a type, so probably you think I can directly use this inputs here, directly orders I can keep here. That will not going to be work out. So schema is nothing but a skeleton, which is the immutable class. Once you created, you cannot able to use for you cannot able to use any other purpose. Only it will only for the response purpose only. So now I want to use this as a input object. So that's the reason instead of you need to definitely create another new object. So I will take a order input. I will going to be take. So if you want to use some input object, you need to create input object specifically. Same schema object you cannot able to use. So this I can just pass here. Orders input. So here I can
Sir,
make
can
something.
you validate the client request here?
Validating the client request means like what?
Like the query the client is sent to us.
That's directly not possible here. And one thing we are having, suppose if you are having that kind of a issue, you can activate something here. Let me do one thing. So in your application.properties, so you can just add one property that will actually activate a GraphiQL playground. So you can just simply spring.GraphiQL.
It's have any user interface.
Sorry?
It's have any user interface for that.
Yes, we are having here. So if you just add this property, and what you need to do is you need to just go to the local host 80. So there is something like a GraphiQL. Yeah, you need to just give this.
Restart.
Application.
8080. Think GRAFIQL. Okay, we didn't restart it, right? Let us restart.
Yeah, restart.
GraphiQL enabled. Okay, I added a mutation, but I didn't added anything. So that's just throwing an error. Let me start.
Sir, can we here maintain versioning? So because now we have added in same query, so I can create version 1, version 2, so like this.
Yeah, that's your choice here. So you can just see it will come like this. So if you just give a, this is the URL there, GraphiQL. So you just need to add this one. So then it will give here. So here it will give like this. You can just remove. So you need to just give, let us say, a query. It will give auto suggestion. So now let us say I want to have some name I can take or get user. So you can just use something like get user, some name, some schema name you can just use. So here get users. So here you can mention, let us say user ID. It is giving the auto suggestions. So like username, let us say contact, orders. Again orders, you can give a order ID. order status. That's it. I can just send it. Now you can see the response here. Suppose you want to use something like a get user. So you can just give here, and for a get user, you can just give something like a user ID. So let us say one I can give get user. Yeah. So I can just see here particular user I can able to retrieve. So this is one of the, I mean, not a programmatical validation. So just you can able to copy paste your query. Suppose if you're having something, let us say I give a wrong use. So then it will going to be shown error here like this. Programmatical validations you don't have to here. Hope this is answer to you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So this is what. So this is you can just activate by adding this property. So Spring GraphQL. So but remember, not a GraphQL. You need to give a GraphiQL, localhost GraphiQL. So then it is going to be open this console. So and it will give a documentations also there. You can just click here. It will give the documentations, all schemas. So what is the schemas you are having? I'm having the user schema. So it is having the user ID, all those things. So orders, it is having the order schema. So order ID, all those things. These are the fields I'm having. So this is what, like in a REST API, we are having the Swagger, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like the same way for a GraphiQL, it will like this. Actually, it is a combination of documentation plus testing. So that's it.
So suppose sir, we want to expose our GraphQL SQL. So how to be exposed to other people's like tester?
This one already, you can just give this a GraphiQL. They need to click on this. So they're seeing this query, right? They will just need to click the query, and whatever the query you created, all the queries will going to be displayed here.
Okay. For the REST control, we have to give a open API, and for GraphQL, we will give your tester to this run, right, sir?
Yes.
Sir, how to put
Sir,
the
we need
data?
we need to give the full URL, or till we have to give like localhost 8080/GraphQL.
So just this one only is sufficient here. GraphiQL is sufficient. Suppose if you just go there, it will automatically redirect to the slash path like this. So they will give some comment, so they can just remove. So just you can click here. So there you can see what is the queries. You can just click the queries. Suppose in the future, if you are having the mutations, that mutation also will going to be show here. Just they need to click here. So these are the queries. Get users. They will click here, user. So they will find the fields, all those things.
Sir, as you said, like graph.
Oh, I lost your voice, dear.
Sir, like as you said, na, like GraphQL is working based on the post mapping. So we can't access post mapping things in URL of the browser, na. But here we are able to access. Why?
Browser. So you are having the forms. So through the forms, you can able to post.
Yeah, but here like we are not using any forms. Even that we are able to access the post request.
They internally do the post calls only, dear. If you just go to the network, so if you just send here,
okay,
they will do the post calls only.
Post call for like it's like form, or like it's a simple.
Request method is post only. Are you able to see here?
Okay, yeah, I am able to see the request method is post. But like post request, we are able to give from the like login form or like front end application, like using React or Angular. Here,
That
how it
was
happens?
this button. That was this button. If you click this button,
Yeah.
this button will call the post only. See,
Okay.
form is nothing but I mean, form is not every time fields. How you will design that is
Okay.
that's in a UI developer hand.
This is a front
Okay.
end.
Okay.
We can use any type of HTTP
Yeah.
method.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Sir,
Okay. Understood.
sir, can you please show the mutation one?
Yeah. So let us go to the mutation. So now mutation, I have a user input, username, and these things. Okay, so for this we need a DTO. So now I will going to be create a class DTO. This is user input I will going to be take, and we are having orders input. As I mentioned, you suppose not to use your schemas in your inputs here. Schemas and inputs both are mismatched, so that will throw an error. So that's the reason I'm creating newly. New class order input. That's it. Okay, so here I will do one thing. User, I will just take this. So this is just a DTO. So let us source generate getters and setters. Select all. That's it. Save it. So now orders. The type. So basically in a user input, we don't record any. Oh, we placed in a wrong place.
Sir, here is schema name you give, starting with the year schema, right? It should match in modular class, right? Entity class.
It's not about the entity class here. Generally, we will take a DTOs, which are the Java object you are having that has to match with the Java object. So in your controller, whatever the class you are going to be returning, that has to be matched with that. So then automatically the fields will going to be mapped by the Spring Boot.
No, I'm not asking this answer. In the GraphQL, you have created the user schema dot GraphQL, right?
Yeah.
So that's user schema. The name is any convention like that. Name can be anything, right?
That's what I'm telling. So this user need to match with in your graphical controller, whatever you're returning. So if it is matched with this, then it internally uh, fields will going to be mapped. So here we taken the direct entity, but in real-time applications we will take an DTOs. So entities will never directly expose, right? So the data whatever will come, so that DTO class name exactly match with the schema. So then automatic mapping will going to be happen.
Okay.
Simply this is the class name of your DTO here. That's it.
Got it. Got it. Then, okay. The file name doesn't matter, right? Inside the type.
File name doesn't matter. Inside type is matter.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so here let me generate source getters and setters. That's it. So for this we need a mutation. So for a mutation, let us go to our first schema. So save user mutation I taken. For this, what we need to do is we need to just take this user input as
So
a
what do you mean?
input.
So what do you mean mutation, sir?
In our GraphiQL, two things we are having there. So like querying and a mutation. Querying means data will going to be retrieved. So that will not allow you to modify the data inside the server. Mutation means it will allow you to modify the data in a server. So if you are doing mutation means your data is going to be modifying. Like this is the alternative for your put mapping, delete mapping, all those things.
Basically, we use DML operation inside the mutation.
Yeah. So user is the attribute and the data type is the user input. So this user input I just mentioned here. And once a save user, return type is the user. So that's I'm going to be taking. So now let us create the same method. As I mentioned, try to take the attribute also same like this here. So GraphiQL. So here I will take a public, return type is the user, save user. Save user. That's it. And here we need to save an user. Repository dot save user. Okay. Return save user. But the thing is, this user is a DTO, I mean DAO, but input is this one. That will going to be fail here. So user input we need to take here. So if it is a user input, so then this will not going to be stored here. So now we need to construct our user object here. So let us construct user is equal to new user. I will do one thing. Let me add a constructor. Source generate constructor using fields. This I don't record user ID. This is sufficient. And if you are created argument constructor, by defaultly non-argument constructor will generate.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Suppose in your Java compiler, if you didn't define any constructor, then it will going to be generated default constructor. Now you define the argument constructor. If you define the argument constructor, then your compiler will not going to be defined any non-argument constructor. But when you are working with the entities, non-argument constructor is a mandatory. Why? Because
Sometimes we don't provide argument, at that time we will get error. So
no. Basically, what will happen is internally your entity, I mean your ORM tool will going to be use the reflection API. In reflection API, there is a method called as a get class method is there. Because if you see, whatever the class created, that will going to be created as a table name. Whatever the fields you created, that will create as a column name. To get the metadata about your classes, it is internally use the get class method that is from the reflection API. Reflection API will going to be work when you are having something like a default constructor. That's the reason your entities must and should having the default constructor. So earlier, why we didn't mention is, if you didn't mention any argument constructor, your Java compiler
by default.
automatically add the default constructor. That's the reason at the time optional. Suppose if you define any argument constructor, then default constructor by default will not going to be add. So like the same way, I will go for the orders also. Public orders, default constructor, and I need source generate constructor using fields. I don't require this and this one. So generate, that's it. So here new user. So user input dot get username. Username contact orders. We need to set the orders.
With contact.
Get contact and user
Get orders list.
dot get orders.
Dot get list.
That's I'm going to be 2. Okay, so user is created as So now schema is also there, and this is the mutation. So here we need to do at mutation mapping. So that's you need to add. That's it, not more than that. And this will become a argument. That's it. So controller, we are having the argument, so which is going to be taking the data. Fine. So now let us restart.
Sir, open the schema file and explain one line. I am not able to understand. Yeah, in mutation, like line number 31, how you are using this one? Can you explain?
So like a type query, type mutation we are having here. So just I use the save user method. So this save user, I'm taking object as a attribute. So basically, whenever you are taking a single parameter like a string or some kind of integer in this format, you don't require anything. But whenever you want to take as an object as an input, you need to define that object. So here I mentioned user input. So these all are the details I mentioned. So here for this orders also, I need orders as an input. So that's the reason again I created a orders input. That's I just added here. So that's
Sir,
all.
if you want to add multiple orders, sir.
Here we are having the array, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's we can add. So we got some unmapped arguments here at the time of a starting user input.
So
Okay.
line number 31, you have used a small user. That one I am getting confused. Like, what is this?
For line number 31, we use user after colon.
Before
So
user
what is the
input, there is user. That one I am asking, like, what is this here?
User is return type.
This is just an argument here. So
Yes,
User
sir.
input. Oh, that one, yeah, that one you need to explain.
see save user. So just
Okay.
user input I'm passing as a, this is the actual constructor, this is the data type. So this is argument. So I'm just taking the user as a argument. That's it.
The big user, what it mean in the line number 31, the last user.
This is return type dear. That's what dear here get users. User list of users is the return type. This is the return type.
Acha. Okay.
So this is the argument. This is the non-argument. If it is a non-argument, you don't require parenthesis. If it is the argument, you require the parenthesis. So this is just a variable name. This is the data type. This is a variable name. So this is the data type. So user input. So it is telling save user one arguments not matched. User input. Guys, could you please go on mute? Okay.
भाई म्यूट कर लो यार.
Mute, please mute.
Wait. I will. Yeah. Okay, so here what it is doing is, if you see, this is one of the beauty at the time of starting of application in a save user, it is telling unmapped argument. So argument what I taken? User input. So argument name is the user input. In a here, I just taken the user. So either like this, I need to mention here user. Or this user input, I will map here. Like this. So now let me restart. Like in Java, what we will do is first we'll define the return type, then variable. Here, reversing. First variable, then return type. So now everything is done. Unmapped fields is empty and skip type is empty. Okay. So now you can just go there. You can just do one thing. So in a Postman, you can close this and you can take a new query. So you can just give here. It will again fetch. So now see, two queries we are having and one mutation we are having. So if I want to save a user, I can give a user ID I don't require and a user input. So username I will give, contact I will give, orders. Actually, this is telling, so this Postman is not support, list of arguments are not currently supported. So this is the open source Postman, like the same way you are having in my office, we are having licensed Postmans we are having. So there we are having that one. So then what we can do is copy this. We are having the graphical client, right? So you can go there,
Yes.
can give here, and save user and username. That's I can give. So what I can give mutation, save user input, user input. Okay, contact. Can just give a control space. It has to give a orders. Save user. Save user, user input orders and a list of orders. Contact orders, list of orders. I give an array here. So array of objects, right? So this I'm going to be giving. So here I can give order type, order status.
Sir, here
Order type.
GraphQL client side. So they're not define any type, data type, like they are define username in string, contact number as number, like OpenAI as well, sir.
That kind of evolution it will not do here.
Because tester may be confused here, right, sir? Maybe sometime he will give string value or something.
Then you can do one thing. So you can just reload in a documentation. Mutation is came here. You can just click here. It will give all the information. So what kind of a username is a string orders. So you can go here.
So because
Here it
main
will come.
problem you're facing with the tester side. So always they are sending what data type you're sending now data time. So
Yeah,
maybe
here
difficult to
they're
crack.
giving, right? So in docs, I'm having the query like a mutation. In a mutation, if you click here, they will give what is the arguments of this. So user input, I'm having the string data type, string data type. So this is again array of order input. So that's you can give.
Okay. So easily they can see there, right, sir?
Yes.
In mutation, if you want to do like delete and also, do we need to specify anything or in
So
Postman?
Postman, you don't need to do anything there. So it's all about the logic you are writing. So basically, if you see in a mutation mapping, I written something like a saving an user. Like the same way, delete an user will create a new mutation, delete user. That logic I'm going to be right here in my controller.
So some main whole CRUD operation we can achieve GraphQL also, right, sir?
Right. So here username. So let me give something like Anand contact. Let me close this. So username contact Anand. Let us say at gmail.com and orders. These all are the string. Order type. I will give something like
mobile. Look.
okay. Delivered. That's it. And once it was done, in a result, I need a username, contact, orders, in orders, order type, order status. So I'm just sending. It is telling, yeah, it is saved. But let us check whether it is really saved or not. Select to start from user. Beautiful. Anand got inserted. Username is inserted. And orders also, mobiles got inserted. So like the same way, let us say I want to store something like Rachel. Few more orders I want to insert. List of orders. So here only one order. I want to insert a few more. Let us keep a comma. Few more. Order type home needs just returned because nowadays no one doing home needs, right? We need urban club. So just I'm sending. Beautiful orders and delivered. So home needs returned. So 2 orders we placed Rachel. So now check it. Select start from user. Rachel got inserted. Orders also got inserted. So like the same way you can just check with the new, and you can just get user. So query, something went wrong. Okay, fine, not a problem. So get users. I'm sending orders also. Let us take this query and paste it here. So send it. So these are the users we are having. So user 1, Harsha, user 2, Vivek, Harsha, user 3, Anand, user 4, Rachel. So that's it. So this is all about the query and the mutation. So like if you want to, could you please try to do the mutation for deleting an user? Can we? Simply,
Yes,
I
sir.
want to delete an user. So that is a mutation. That is not a query. Deleting is nothing but you're telling. So you don't need to create any new mutation. Same, you can just let us say delete user. So how you want to delete? Can we say primary key?
Yes, sir. Like ID that you have
Yes, sir.
given ID type of query parameters. Yeah.
Set okay. And return type, I will take a some string. User deleted like that. Okay.
Okay.
Or if you want to take a user
So,
also, that's fine. So what I'm thinking is all user is already deleted. User is already deleted. So then how you can able to get that deleted user?
Sir, message is fine. Like if you
Yeah.
like delete the user, you don't need to see the user that one.
Said okay. So now you can just take the delete user. So now go to your GraphQL. So here public string. So method name delete user same like what you declared in the here, and take argument also same here. Otherwise you will get here non-argument mapped. So here data type is the integer, user ID, and this is the argument. And now I need to find a user. User u. I will going to be find a user, and repository dot delete by ID. I'll pass the user ID. If everything is goes well, user deleted. That's it. And this will be a mutation mapping. That's it.
So why you find ID, but it just directly you can delete, no?
Directly delete, but just I'm checking if a user is not there with that primary key, we need to block here itself, right? This you can remove also, not a problem.
And like what's the best practice? We should first retrieve then delete. That's
Yeah,
why
that is
I'm
the best
asking.
practice. Yeah. Why? Because in transactions, dirty commit, dirty read is there. So if you directly delete, suppose if other transaction is actually doing, then that will going to be affected. So if you first check if user is there, let us say simple example here. You are want to purchase some product. Only one product is there. Two users is there. So before placing an order, you need to check the product availability. So then
Yes.
whoever having the product, they can able to place it. Directly if you place an order at the time of the checkout page, meanwhile, if some user is already purchased that product, you will get something like a null pointer exception. So that's the reason it's better to check. So meanwhile, what will happen is in asynchronous communication, make sure the product is there, then only I'm going to be placing. So that's the reason it's better to check, validate. Otherwise, that's okay. So I'm just going to be restart. Okay, unmapped files, everything is there. So now, so basically in a graphical, if you just do the query, it will not going to be take the latest mutations tier. So that's the reason what you will do is you need to take a new, again, you need to introspect, then it will go into introspect. So then you will get a new delete user. So you can just take this and you can just make something like a user ID. I want to delete something like a 3, I want to delete. So now you can just query. So user deleted. So this is what we got. Now you can just check third user I deleted successfully.
Yes.
Is any third user here?
Yes, sir, deleted.
Anand is deleted from this list.
Sorry?
Marriage Anand, that one is deleted.
Yeah. So Anand got deleted. So earlier we were having the third user Anand. Now Anand got deleted. Okay. So now you can just check also like a querying get users.
Sir, what about user? If we delete user, then what about order?
Orders also cascading type all there we did. It will going to delete the orders also. There is a no user orders. User ID 3. See earlier user ID 3, right? Mobiles. Now we don't have.
Yes, yes.
So that's the reason
Correct.
only we mentioned many to one. In orders, we did a many to one, right? That too cascade type all. If user deleted, orders will be deleted. If order deleted, user also deleted. So that's what. So this is all about GraphiQL here. It's all about what the logic you will write. It's all about depending upon your requirement. So if you want to update the data, updating also mutation mapping dear. You need to do the mutation mapping, updating also. So you need to get the data and you need to update all those things. Okay. So now I will do one thing dear. I will upload this code for you.
Sir, my question is, so CRUD operation will be achieved by REST API also and GraphQL also. So what is the major difference sir, here then?
Sir, share the GitHub link in chat also.
Yeah, I will share here. Basically, CRUD operations generally we'll use the GraphiQL. So the name itself telling here. So mutation is the additional feature, but name itself you see that is a query language. It's better to use the GraphiQL retrieving the data. Remaining upgradation, deletion, all those things you can do with the REST API only.
Okay, okay. So here CQRS design pattern will fit for you, right, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So only for the fetching data, either single value or multiple value.
Yeah.
So
So
use
see
for a
the
GraphQL.
main problem GraphiQL solving is a overfetching, underfetching. That is the problem it is solving. But people, developers are too enthusiastic. So that's where they introduce the mutation also. So they just GraphiQL 1, actually GraphiQL 1 is actually introduced querying only. GraphiQL 2 onwards, this mutation was introduced. So we are majorly having the three things here. In a distributed environments, we are having the REST, GraphiQL, gRPC. Probably you heard or not have gRPC.
Yes, sir. We had. Yes.
So basically, REST is suitable for distributed transactions, which means whole CRUD, creating, retrieving, updating, deleting, that is fine. So GraphiQL is suitable for querying according to the client necessity. whatever the client needs. So that necessity, when I'm in a distributed environment, my clients will going to be go there. So then if I want to query required data, so then I will go for the GraphQL. So remember, GraphQL never ever replacement of a REST. That is not a replacement. Added advantage. It is just a added advantage only, but it is not a replacement. So GraphiQL is not a replacement of a REST API. So just it is a added advantage performance implementations that will use this GraphiQL. Coming to the gRPC, gRPC is also for the querying only. So this is actually introduced by the Google people. But if you want to make some kind of a stream of huge data, so then we will go for the gRPC. Remote procedure call. So initially it is introduced the Google. At that time they mentioned the Google remote procedure call, but now they made it as an open source. That's the reason now people calling it as a generic remote procedure call. So when you will use a gRPC is there. Let us say I'm having the best example is, are you downloading torrent, right? I'm having the 2 GB, 3 GB of files. In the 2 GB, 3 GB of files, I will not going to be block any other request. I will going to be fetch the data. I will going to be fetch the data whenever the chunk size is available. So that kind of a huge amount of a data, and I need to in sync with my server. Behind the scenes, I want to do. That's where the stream of huge data fetching, you are going to be use this gRPC. So gRPC Google or generic remote procedure call. So that's where this will going to be used. So let us say, simple example, I'm having the 2 GB file. I want to download. Until downloading that file, I don't want to allow to other operation means that will no user going to be like. Behind the scenes, I need to do. So I will going to be download. Whenever the network is speed, I will going to be download speed. Whenever network is slow, I will going to be slow. But remaining operations, I will going to be allow you to do the work. So that's where I will go for the gRPC. So I have a plan to schedule some gRPC workshop also. We'll see how gRPC will going to be work all those things. But hope everyone got understanding about the GraphiQL, necessity of the GraphiQL. Got it? About the
Yes.
GraphiQL?
Sure.
Yeah, sir, I have a doubt.
Yep.
So whenever we are integrating with the UI application, generally we are copying the payload from the UI. For example, hitting the get button. So in the network tab, after inspecting the network tab, we are seeing the payload of the get. So just we are copying that payload and we are pasting in the postman and we are fetching. So similarly for GraphQL, whether any changes are required from the US side. So how we get the payload in the
So
net tab?
yeah, basically what will happen is in a GraphiQL, everything is a post call. For example, assume this is my UI. If I
Yes.
just send here, so it send the GraphiQL. So now you can directly take the payload here and you can copy, paste it here.
Okay, so no changes required at the US side after.
Nothing. Yeah.
Okay. Only backend side we need to do all these things.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Sir, please send a GitHub link so that we can.
Yeah, so this will uploaded in this already here. Let me.
In chat box you can share, sir.
Yeah, so I will upload. So I will going to be create a one GitHub repository like a Spring Boot GraphiQL. So once this class was done, then I will going to be upload. So you can just check after 15 minutes like that. So here you will get all the code I will upload. No worries.
Sir, this workshop is enough, or if we want, like we need to more to learn in depth. So, what is the other resource we should follow?
I covered almost everything, dear. So like I covered the fetching of data, mutation of data, like a schema, I covered everything. Even Spring Boot auto configuration also I covered. Based upon the requirement, this is more than enough. Based upon the requirement, if any new concepts is there, because real time that is a never-ending process. New concepts will going to become here. You are going to be take all those things. This is sufficient
Okay.
to work in a real-time projects, but requirement needs, then you need to put some effort
Okay, we can fairly confidently add this
in your
GraphQL
resume.
in our resume, right?
Definitely you can add.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
That's a valuable framework,
Yeah.
valuable workshop, sir, by you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Very useful session.
Yeah. So actually, I shared the GitHub URL here, dear. So just within 10 minutes, I will going to be create a new repository. I will upload. So just check that. So the name also same, dear, Spring Boot GraphiQL, or you can just check the date also. Today's date I will going to be upload. And a small announcement. I mean, if anyone interested about the Spring Boot or microservices or Angular, so I'm going to be launching maybe 22nd. I'm going to be launching new batch. Or 23rd. Most likely 23rd I'm going to be launching Spring Boot with the microservices. So that's if you content all those things, so if you just request, my course content is a little bit different because I will go for everything is a real-time approaches like a webflex, all those things we'll discuss like a REST API. So demo class link you can able to get. So one batch mostly that will be on a 7:30 a.m. and Angular also I'm going to be launching Angular 20. So that's what whoever interested, so you can just connect with the Ashok at admin team, so they will going to be share the details to you. Thank you, and I really appreciate so for your time, and hope this is added a bit advantage to your knowledge base. Thank you so much. Have a
Sir,
good day.
one
Bye bye.
question. Sir, I have one question.
Thank
One
you.
question, sir.
Bye bye.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
communicate microservice. There's two way: synchronous and asynchronous. So there
Not
is a
synchronous, asynchronous here. You suppose not to tell like that. Blocking and non-blocking. Blocking means REST template, non-blocking means web client. Synchronous, asynchronous, total designing way. Synchronous means you are going to be using either client or a web client, then you are going to be sending. Asynchronous means again this message brokers come into the picture. Kafka or RabbitMQ will come into the picture. So asynchronous means if my service is down, in the future my service is up, then I'm able to pull the data. So irrespective of the service health, I'm able to fetch the data. That is asynchronous communication.
okay.
Basically,
So
we
in
are
that,
understanding like synchronous means blocking and asynchronous means non-blocking, right?
That is assumption, but that is technically we suppose not to call. Synchronous, asynchronous is a different way. Synchronous means using REST template or web client. Asynchronous means by using the message brokering.
Okay, in synchronous we can say REST template is used for blocking and web client is used for non-blocking.
Non-blocking, yeah.
These both come under the synchronous communication.
Synchronous.
Okay.
Sir,
Web
so
client is a REST client like that. This no? So REST client templates.
REST template, yeah.
Okay.
sir, Shiva this side. Actually, I wanted to know what will be the duration and timing for the Angular batch.
Basically, my batch will going to be take a bit of time there. Even Spring Boot also almost I will take 75 to 90 days because everything go to that deep. So that's the reason I will tell the people whoever having that much patience you can stay. So even Angular also 60 days minimum it will take. Minimum
Sir,
55 days it will take.
no problem, sir.
Max 60
Actually,
days.
sir, I'm also a full stack developer, but I wanted to learn the new features in Angular. So that's why I asked. I will join.
Yeah. So because
So React are you also on like studying React also, teaching React?
React batch completed there. So until next 2 months, I'm not able to give a React batch because only 2 batches I will deal. So currently I'm working with the solution Solutionotic with another company. So I need to manage my office work and this one. Either React or Angular, one batch, one Spring Boot batch. So only that I'm going to be giving. Sometimes I will conduct the workshop. Sometimes I will give a cloud batches.
Okay,
Sir,
you said
it
about
will
the
be
What will
on.
be timing for the Angular?
Like
I'm sorry.
What
Angular
will
batch
be
from which
Angular
day you are taking?
timing for the Angular?
Mostly it is morning batches only. They are either 7:30 or 8:30.
Okay.
And from which date like?
23rd.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, is that going to be free for JRTP people?
Sorry, free for?
JRTP people, Java Real Time Project people.
Java real-time people, that's decided by the admin team there. I'm not sure.
Okay, okay.
If they are okay, I don't have any issue.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Do
Divya here.
you have notes of this session?
I will upload my GitHub there. For example, you can
Hello?
see, yeah, so I will upload my GitHub there. For example, if you see this repository in a README, I uploaded everything. So like this, I will going to be give all the screenshots, everything I will upload here. In a GitHub, you can find. No worry on that.
So Divya here. Good morning.
Yes.
Sir, I need to talk to you. So can I get your number? So it's regarding
Okay.
my career basis.
Just press the link on the chat. So
You can connect with the admin team there. So because I am not sure whether that is ethic or not, so you can connect with the admin team. So they definitely have my number. So you can take from them and you can reach me.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, is there fees for the Angular course and Spring Boot microservices course that you're going to take?
Of fee structure, I'm not the point of contact. I'm the point of contact for only this subject wise. So fees, I'm not going to be uh, involved in this year. So that's the reason. So if anything,
But the course is taken
duration,
by you, right?
yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
duration, definitely it will going to be, if it is a Spring Boot and microservices, it will going to be take the minimum 75 to 90. If it is a Angular, it will take the minimum 55 to 60 days. Duration wise, I can help you. Content wise, I can help you. Any technical questions, I can help you. And fees, these things, because sometimes it depends upon the crowd, all those things. Going to be changed if I give us some commitment and admin people give us some commitment and they will question me because I'm after all a part-time guy here, so that's the reason I
Got
don't
it.
have anything. I don't have any
No
rights to
problem.
decide for a yeah.
No problem, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you, so catch you on possible days, so have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir.